Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Train Sim Depot. My name is Gareth and today I'd like to take you through a new scenario pack what is coming on the ATS website. This is the Norwich Extension Scenario Pack #2. This is by CrankyBot Scenarios. If you guys haven't already seen some of CrankyBot's work, he has done some fantastic scenarios in the past for Train Simulator. So this extension actually is of the Norwich extension to the Great Eastern Main Line. However, in this pack, I'm going to basically go through what the scenarios are and some little bits and pieces. I have had the privilege of testing this for CrankyBot, so thank you very much to him for providing me and the ability to be able to test this. So the scenarios are all really fun. They're really engaging, and they don't actually require too much DLC. What I know a lot of people are sort of conscious about. If you haven't got the Norwich extension scenario pack, I was informed earlier today that this is no longer available. So just bear that in mind when actually getting this. I believe it's going to be a subware pack on the ATS website. I haven't actually had that confirmed, but first we're just going to have some notes to consider. The files are packed from Train Simulator itself. There's no scripts, there's no bat files, anything like that included with this. Basically it's a simple drag and drop system onto the content. If you wish to make any changes, then please do tell CrankyBot that you were doing it, so he can approve you doing so if you're planning to upload to a website. For the time being, this scenario pack is an ATS site, however you may open that up to future hosting. Each scenario has its own requirements listed in the PDF, so each sort of one has its own list of requirements, so it's sort of pick and choose on which ones you want, but they're actually fairly standard Great Eastern Main Line stuff. The Class 360 is in TFL livery. This is in stand-in for the Class 345s. Because we don't actually have a Class 345 in TS yet, the 360 is sort of substituting that. So it's not too much of an issue. The 360 sort of is a good stand-in, I suppose. I mean, yeah, that's probably least said the better. The 360s in Train Sim aren't very good anyway. They're one of sort of Rail Simulator's first sort of Train Simulator DLCs. But yeah, let's get into the first scenario. So the first scenario is actually going to take you from 1 Foxtrot 41 12 o'clock service from Braintree to London Liverpool Street. This is actually along the Braintree branch line, my local line. And basically what it is you're a lunch hour, but lunch for you has to wait because you are taking controls of 321 447 and 326 service from 1 Foxtrot 41 from Braintree Liverpool Street. You'll call at Braintree, Freeport, Cressing, White Notley, Whittam, Chelmsford, Ingatestone, Shenfield, Stratford and London Liverpool Street. This is actually known as a semi-fast service. In real life, the train itself will probably do that stopping pattern, and it will be on a semi-fast service. If you actually have a fast service, it won't stop at Ingatestone, it will also not stop at Shenfield. But most of the time, especially around lunchtime, it'll do a stopping service. A stopping service also includes, I believe, Romford and Hatfield Peveril too. But okay, so the requirements are pretty standard, as I said. You basically need the Class 66 locomotive. You also need the enhancement pack from AP. A lot of this stuff will have the AP stuff already. You also need the LED headlights. You need the Armstrong Bauhaus Class 90 Freightliner. That is the Freightliner pack. I think that's like $5.99. Sometimes even goes down to $2.99 on sale. You also need the Wagons GEML Class 90. You also need the BH reskins. Reskin for the Class 90. This Class 90 is the one you can get from Steam, not the one you get from AP's website. Note that. Armstrong Bauhaus 314, 315, the LED destination packs, and also the Overground and London Livery TFL branding patch. You also need the Class 317 Volume 1. That is probably the latest one. It's probably most what people don't have because it's quite new. Also need all Class 321 reskins, and that includes Clown, Super Alps, and James Ivals. You also need the 360 Greater Anglia pack, 360 Heathrow Express livery, and also the destination pack. You also need the Class 378 Chris Horsfield's 378 destinations, and also you need the Brighton Mainline 379 Greater Anglia reskin. It's a 1 hour scenario roughly. The exact time is actually 56 minutes because I've done it in real life, and it's about medium difficulty. It's a really good scenario. It's really sort of good to get you sort of into the swing of things. There's a lot of sort of AI about. There's loads of cool stopping stops, and the unit you're driving again is the 321, what is a fantastic drive on the Great Eastern Main Line. Has really good acceleration. Just bear in mind when you come into Whittam, make sure you go down to 10 miles an hour because it's a bit of a oddball because it goes from around that bend going into platform 4. There is a bend and you can only go at 10 miles an hour, so make sure you do that. And I don't believe there's any signals you need to tap out in this scenario. I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I've tested them, but it was about a week ago. And yeah, it's just a really good scenario, and there's quite sort of accurate AI timings, and I really enjoyed it actually, to be fair. Really enjoyed it. Okay, you'll probably notice actually, before I go any further, that the scenarios are numbered scenario 13. This is because CrankyBot did actually do a first pack of the Norwich extension pack. So if you guys want to check that out, it's over on ATS too. So this one is a CSD move. This is actually a empty stock move. Sorry. Take an empty pair of dusty bins, what a nickname for the 321s, on a run to Colchester Depot. Should be a somewhat easy run if all things go well. I say in theory, you do have a few yellows. It is an interesting one. The requirements are basically the same as what the last one was. You need a 321, you need a 156. The 156 is actually quite interesting because the 156 isn't actually Greater Anglia anymore. It was actually moved, I believe, about 2 years ago now, actually, I think. Well, maybe a year ago when the 745s came in and the 755s. They were moved. So I don't know when these scenarios are actually set, because I think actually, like I said, the 314s and the 315s were also moved, and also, like I said, the 90s and the 156s have also been moved. But it doesn't matter. It's, again, a really interesting scenario, this one. It's kind of like you'll be sort of it's kind of interesting. You'll be collared by yellows because you're actually following you're behind a fast run service, if my memory is correct. And yeah, it's just a really good move. Colchester CSD is actually an interesting approach to it, because you come off the main line, but you sort of divulge it. It's just really interesting. Sometimes the points don't set either, so make sure you do watch out for that. But yeah, very interesting scenario, this one. Again, sort of the main kind of requirements for that. Apparently it's an easy scenario. It's 1 hour 10 minute, what does make sense, because 10 minutes from William, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, it's about an hour and 10. Like I said, you are obviously low priority in the list, so who knows. This one is Colchester to London Liverpool Street. This is actually on a miserable morning. You are in charge of the first service out of Colchester to London Liverpool Street. You call at Markstay, Kelford and Whittam, Hatfield, Peveril, Chelmsford, Ingatestone, Shenfield, Romford, Seven Kings, Stratford and London Liverpool Street. Now this is the only service of the day what stops at Seven Kings and Romford, if my memory is correct. So this one's an interesting one. It is the first service out of Colchester. It is a Renatus one, so it is a refurbed one. It's a 4-car service, and it's again very interesting. You do actually need a few more requirements for this one. You do actually need the JT153, the DTG59, MGA wagons, rail reskinned by Richard Fletcher, and all of these sort of just general 170s. You got your 321s, that sort of stuff we've been through in this video already. This one is a medium difficulty scenario. It's 1 hour 5. Just be warned, as you come out of Colchester, your game might dump, but it's not the scenario. I had it twice when I was testing. It's just a thing with the simulator, but it should be fine. After sort of a few attempts, it should work. But it's a very interesting scenario. Make sure you do realise where Romford and Seven Kings are, because I always get confused between Shenfield and Stratford where the stations are, the order of stations. So just make sure you keep an eye on that HUD to see where the stations are, because again, Romford and Seven Kings also have pretty short platforms too. So just be warned of where they are, and obviously your braking distance. And remember, it is raining, so the braking distance will have to be slightly larger because of the train slipping on the wheels. But yes, a very interesting scenario. I really enjoyed testing it, and it's kind of different actually, to be fair. This one is scenario 15. This is the 2 Foxtrot 68 1538 service from London Liverpool Street to Colchester Town. Let's say winter's afternoon. You operate 321, 421 and 342 on a service to Colchester Town. You'll call it Stratford, Romford, Shenfield, Chelmsford, Whittam, Kelford and Markstay, Colchester and Colchester Town. Now, I always like stopping at Colchester Town in a dusty bin, I have to say. The curve as you go around from Colchester is quite interesting. There's a lot of sort of speed restrictions and stuff, so just make sure you keep out for that. Now, there is a lot of requirements here for this one too. Again, it's sort of the basic stuff. You need your 317s, you need your 315s, you need your wagons 90, very basic sort of stuff. If you play the GTML a lot, then you'll probably have these requirements. Now, this is an interesting scenario. I really enjoyed this. Coming into Colchester Town was quite fun. And it's something what actually I do believe probably needs maybe a bit of an update. The station itself, the station model is a bit out, because you've got now a magistrate's court behind it. But yeah, it's a good. It serves its purpose. It's a really fun scenario. There are a few sort of yellows, and I think there is actually a red at some point during the scenario too. So a really, really interesting scenario, and I recommend it is a definite play. And yeah, that's basically what I have to say about that. That's quite an interesting one. And Colchester and Colchester Town, like I said, just watch out for them speed restrictions in between going as you go around the junction towards the Hive. Okay, so this one is an interesting one. This is in a 360. Yes. Okay, so I personally do not like 360s in Train Simulator. Some people do, some people don't. I don't like them. I feel like the physics are off, the sounds are off, and they're just not very sort of good. They're quite low quality graphs. So I would say this is probably my least favourite one out of the entire pack, but that's because of the stock they used. But in the mid noughties, I should say, like in the early 2000s, First Great Eastern was a thing in the past, but liveries remained for the 321s in their blue, green, and white liveries, and the 360s in their acceptable Barbie livery. You operate a midday service 1 November 39 from the Hive to London Liverpool Street, finishing the remainder of the service from Clacton. You call at Colchester, Witham, Chelmsford, Indexcombe, Shenfield, Stratford and London Liverpool Street. This is a rolling start scenario. Rolling starts are quite buggy actually, but it's fair enough to to CrankyBot for getting that sorted. I know there was an issue during testing, but it works, it's fine. You start the Hive. What's kind of interesting, that is the most I think it's the furthest point away, I believe, or the furthest point sort of that way you can go. You can't go any more than that because obviously you go towards the Clacton branch. Well, it's not actually in Train Simulator, unfortunately. It'd be nice if you could do a full Clacton along the Sunshine Coastline, but you can't. So he started it from the Hive. That's fair enough. I get that. And yeah, it's just a really interesting one. There is actually a really cool sort of TSR stoppage at Romford. In this scenario, you have to stop to allow a Class 47 1 do a empty coach movement with some Mark 3s. So that's kind of cool actually, and really fun. And I have to say actually, it's probably one of my favourite scenarios in terms of stock movement, not in terms of the actual playability of the scenario, because I don't like the stock queues, but they're each to their own. I'm not saying don't play it, but I'm just saying I personally did not like the 360. However, they say it's a hard scenario. I quite enjoyed it. It was only an hour and 10, so you get to Liverpool Street and you're done. It's a very interesting scenario. It's nice seeing some old liveries too and some old units. So I have to say, hats off to CrankyBot, but I probably wouldn't have used a 360, but that's just me. Everything else in the scenario pack is absolutely fine. For the requirements of this one, actually, I did forget to say you do need the 47, the FCA and FTA wagon pack, and everything else is pretty standard. Also, you need ATS's Common Library. You can actually get that from Cambridge to Peterborough, so you do actually need that route to be able to play this, but most people have that anyway. So this is an interesting one. This is a London Liverpool Street to Ipswich move. You need I'll go through the pre first. You need a 321, 419 and 312 service 1 Yankee 16 to Ipswich, Court, Stratford, Shenfield, Chelmsford, Hatfield, Peveril, Witham, Kelvedon, Markstay, Colchester, Manningtree and Ipswich. This is probably the longest scenario in the pack, if not one of them. So you need the discontinued South Wales Coastal branded. You also need the J&A wagon reskin, Fastline YQA par wagons. You need 66. You need the 32190s, 170s, 317s, and that is basically obviously the 360s. You also need the 379s and the 378s. So it's an interesting story, this one. It was kind of difficult to do. I have to say, I did get a few dumps, but it's quite a sort of easy run, I should say. It's kind of a basic run down the Great Eastern Main Line, and a very interesting one, and CrankyBot has definitely done a very good job in this scenario. There's a lot of, like I said, different sort of units, and as like I said, you've got the 156s sitting at Sudbury, you've got the 170s, you've got the 317s, you've got the 360s up and down sort of TFL rail. So it's a very detailed scenario and a very enjoyable scenario too, and I actually didn't have any issues running this scenario either. Normally I do if it's an Ipswich another Liverpool Street to Ipswich. Normally I get kind of a few dumps along the way, but this one was absolutely fine, so I have no issues with that whatsoever. Okay, so this one was probably one of my favourite ones. This was the 1 Yankee 59. You were operating a class of 317s on an evening, nighttime sort of rush hour movement. The weather seems to be worsening, but you should be fine all the way through. I can tell you categorically that is not the case. It does start raining here and there during a scenario. This one you do actually require a few more bits and pieces. You require the FSAs, you require the 170s with Armstrong Powerhouse, you require the 317, which is a crucial part because that is the unit you're driving. You also require the Brighton mainline 360s and 321 packs. So again, if you played the Great Eastern Mainline, you'll probably have these requirements already in. I think the only one I actually had to go out and get purposely for this was probably the the Fastline Simulations. I think that was the only one I actually had to get, but other than that, there's nothing else. But this one was a really interesting one. I really like this because the 317s are kind of, I'd say, underused in the scenario making world with the Great Eastern Mainline. I used to see them buzz up and down past Whitton when I was waiting for my train in the evening, and they used to go like to Ipswich. They used to go back and forth to Ipswich, Colchester, the Hive. They used to all of that sort of area. And they were just like workhorses, so it's very nice to see us actually have a decent sort of a full run in the evening during rush hour when it would have been working in real life. Well, they still are working actually, I believe. So yeah, a very interesting scenario, a really fun scenario. You get sort of, I don't think there's any hold-ups in this one. I think it's just a straight run through, but there's some really good AI stock. Because it's in the evening, you'll see a lot of freight, and you'll see like those are 321s, class 90s, etc, etc. So a very good scenario, a very fun scenario too. Okay, this one is a interesting stock move. This one is the 5 Foxtrot 66 Ilford EMU depot to Ingatestone. So this is the newly transferred 322484 with a 321 leading on the back on the empty coach stock movement at Ilford depot to Ingatestone, which will later form 2 Foxtrot 66 to Colchester, which is also in this pack. You'll stick to slow lines up until Shenfield, so expect traffic on the way there. Yes, this is a very, very complicated scenario. I have to say I struggle with it because of the reds. I spadded like twice, but it's fine. You're on the slow lines, which means you're having to you're actually behind, I believe it is a TfL rail service, so you do have to sort of keep an eye on them signals. You basically just need you need a class 37 for this. What I really like, actually, I really like what he's done at Shenfield with the class 37. 321s, obviously you need your 322 pack, but that comes with it. You also need the Y-Pack Sinks' Workshop one. I believe that is the... We'll just actually have a look. Okay, so this is the Y-Pack headlights to the class 37. Okay, that's basically just the headlights. That's fine. It's free to download too. So yeah, you just need sort of your basic stuff for that. But again, this is an interesting scenario because a 322, it's slightly different than a 321, but inherently the same. You do actually have to switch over the points manually at Ilford too, because obviously they're manual points. So just make sure when it tells you on it that you need to do it, make sure you do go into the right out connecting part onto the main line. Make sure you do set them points. But a very interesting scenario, a very difficult scenario, but a very fun one too, I have to say. Actually, I do like having empty stock moves. I do like them sort of ones, and it's kind of interesting. So you can set up your train, you have to turn on the lights, etc, etc. So it's kind of interesting, this one, and a very interesting journey. There is also a lot of AI on this, what's quite nice. Again, it's as per real-time trains, so really fun, and yeah, really cool. Okay, so the last scenario of this pack is the scenario 20s, 2 Foxtrot 66, 1558, Ingatestone to Colchester. It's time to head out, obviously following off from this scenario at the top here. You will be calling at Chelmsford, Hatfield, Peveril, Whitton, Markstate and Colchester. Again, a very fun scenario, a lot of AI, and I don't actually think there was a few yellows and reds here and there, but I think that might just be my driving. So again, a very good last scenario. Okay, so that is the pack itself. I have to say, CrankyBot has done a lot of work into this. There was a few errors that were thrown up during testing, but honestly, this is probably one of the best scenario packs I've seen over on ATS. But that also is because I'm biased, because I do like the Great Eastern Mainline, and I do like driving. It's probably my most driven route. However, the detail he's put into this, you know, with the class 315s and the 314s, Obviously, they're being retired, so instead of just keeping them on, he's actually then replaced them with the 360s. He's actually managed to find a substitute, what I really think works nicely. There is also a good variety here in terms of you've got your empty stock moves, you've got your stopping service, you've got your fast services. The only thing I would say, and I've spoken to CrankyBot about this, is he's obviously put on the Norwich extension. That's fair enough, but I would like to be able to see it. I'd like to be able to see some scenarios go up to Norwich. I appreciate that for this one he hasn't, but I know he has already said, he said on stream the other day when he was watching Alan's stream, he said it's going to be potentially on the third pack, but who knows. I'd like to see some maybe Class 90 fast services, Norwich in 90, something like that. But a fantastic pack, loads of different weather, loads of AI, loads of interesting sort of movements, and a really fun scenario pack. If you guys aren't a subscriber of ATS, I do recommend getting the subscriber pack, becoming a subscriber for the packs. You get your subware packs, you get your missing links, you get all of that sort of stuff. So I do recommend you guys become a member. Now, I'll leave a link down below to ATS's website, but in the meantime, guys, I will leave a link down below when this is released in the comments, so make sure you do hit the comments down below and download this pack. It is fantastic. Well done, CrankyBot, and hopefully, I believe he is going to upload the pack in accordance to this video. So thanks, CrankyBot, and I'll see you guys next time, and have a good day.